Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to yet another edition of the DT Africa Live series. We're streaming and coming to you live from Accra, Ghana, where we are headquartered, and we bring you exciting news today. Coming up this week is the African Games Week, and I'm very much excited to be hosting Rex Bodwin, who is the event director and the founder of the African Games Week. We're going to do a deep dive into the African gaming industry, trying to understand what the narrative looks like now. Over the past decade, in the past 10 years, the gaming scene in Africa has really grown massively. According to a study from Quartz Africa, we saw that over 186 million people had now been onboarded to the gaming bandwagon, coming from 77 million in 2015, right? Kindly join me as I bring on stage now Rex, so we can get into the discussion around the African Games Week and what the gaming industry really looks like for Africa. Hi, Rex. How are you?
Hi, very well.
Great to have you on board. How are you feeling? How are you? How
Yeah, a
excited
little
are you about
stressed.
the event?
A little stressed. Lots of moving parts. Lots of people coming from different parts of the world. So, yeah, but it's very excited.
Could you please just guide us through what we should expect from the African Games Week 2022? This was supposed to be done last year, and because of the COVID variant, Omicron, we had to move it upward. So, what should we expect? What should participants expect being
Great.
an
Yeah.
hybrid event?
Awesome. So, this is our fourth edition of the event. It started in 2018, and it's been running every year since. Last year we had to go 100% virtual, which was great, and actually allowed us to get quite a massive reach. I think what virtual has done for us is, in the past we used to our biggest struggle is to get people to fly from other parts of Africa to get involved in the event, because it's just so costly per capita to fly between countries. So what virtual has done for us is actually expand our reach into Africa massively. However, this year going back into it, we didn't want to go 100% virtual because we see this as a turning year for us, where we have a lot of African developers actually coming out to the event, and a lot of international publishers coming out. So the likes of Xbox, Microsoft is coming out, Focus Entertainment, some guys from Ubisoft, some guys from Raw Fury. So some very big names around the world are coming out to the event. And we wanted to take this year to really do two things. One, introduce those kingpins of the industry to big publishers around the world and continue that opportunity for them. But also, we want to see this year as the year that the industry comes together. So we've got key people from Nigeria, from Ghana, from South Sudan, from Kenya, Tunisia, Ivory Coast, all over different parts. Angola, someone's coming down from as well. So all different parts of Africa coming together, meeting, and becoming this close knit community, and start working a lot more together. Because what we see in Africa at the moment is that about 99% of games made in Africa gets played in different parts of the world. And because it's such a massive continent, there's a lot of, it's very, very difficult to get things going between countries.
That's quite interesting.
I've lost vocal hearing on you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
An exciting number. Having to know that 99% of the games in Africa are being played all across the world, it's quite exciting to know that. One other thing I was going to just get, South Africa actually hosts the largest number of gaming or gamers, right, compared to other African countries. What does narrative look like in South Africa, and why is game really, really adapted?
Look, I think it comes down to money again. It's available access to PlayStations, Xboxes, and that opportunity. South Africa being the richest nation in Africa has that availability to money. So that's always a big change. But what I think we'll see over the coming years is gaming is going towards mobile massively, and the opportunity for mobile networks to jump onto this opportunity for for the continent is huge. In Africa, loads of people have mobile phones, sometimes many mobile phones, because just of how networks are set up in Africa, you sometimes have to have a different phone for a different province in your own country. So the opportunity for mobile phone gaming is growing massively all over the world, and Africa has the ability to be a huge market for that, for developers and games around the world.
Okay, I think we have a bit of an internet glitch here because I couldn't hear some part of the last bit of things you said. But then again, I understand that the opportunities in the South African market and access to devices, access to the money, basically makes it easier, right? In your experience as an event organizer, and I'm just being that you organize or you are the event director for the African Games Week, what has been most of the major challenge of having other African nations really been onboarded to the Games Week for the past 4 years?
So the biggest thing still is getting people to fly from different parts of Africa to South Africa. When an event happens in Europe, be it in France or Germany or Sweden, to get between countries is quite simple. There's trains that go hourly between countries. There's flights every half an hour and every hour between different countries, and it's relatively cheap to get between, say, France and Germany or France and Denmark, and anywhere in Europe. However, getting between countries in Africa is phenomenally difficult. It's sometimes more expensive to fly from Ghana to Nigeria than it is to fly from Nigeria to somewhere in Europe. And those countries are next door to each other, and it's much the same across Africa. So there's not a lot of low-cost flights between countries. So getting people from Africa to South Africa is a costly exercise. We push this and get funding from as many places as possible to do this. But it is very, that is the restriction massively. And that's why the virtual side of it is so interesting for us, and really, extends that reach to people in a massive way. So we definitely, I think, from this point onward, even though it is very difficult to run a live event and a physical event and a virtual event at the same time, we will go back and go forward into our events in the future, having this hybrid type program so that we can make it inclusive as possible.
Yeah, I'll come back to the hybrid nature of the event and what opportunities and access it actually grants to more African individuals, African people to join the event. But then again, let's really do a deep dive into the gaming industry in Africa. What impact do you particularly see that for over the past 4 years that the African Games Week has had on the gaming landscape in Africa? I mean, we are looking here that we have a lot of international people flying in from other African states, right? What impact have African Games Week actually had on the mental, disposition of the Africa representing African countries and the African developers?
Great, yeah, it's a great question, and is exactly why we set up Africa Games Week. So pre-2018, we were taking delegations to the largest events in the world, GDC San Francisco, Gamescom in Germany, Games Connection in Paris. And we got to those events and at that stage it was funded by the South African government. So it was a group of South African game developers. And we got to those shows and we were nowhere. People looked and said, wow, games are coming from South Africa. And again, people saying, South Africa? What country in Africa is South Africa? And people didn't know that kind of stuff. So, the idea that games can be made in Africa was not even a notion at that stage. So what we decided while we were out there saying, this tiny little small space amongst thousands of square meters. I mean, the PlayStation stand at GDC takes up half a hall of the event. If you go to Gamescom, Blizzard have a huge hall to themselves. So these huge game publishers are, everyone's got the attention on them, and we really were at the back of the line. So we flipped the narrative, and we said, well, let's rather go and find the people that understand that there's an opportunity in Africa and want to see this industry grow, and let's get them and bring them to South Africa, and then bring the African developers to South Africa as well, and get these guys to engage. And the results were phenomenal. You know, we've had signings of big games during Africa Games Week. The guys from Free Labs signed a new game to PlayStation in 2019, a game called Gorn, and that was a phenomenal experience. We've had outsourcing deals that have come from it, so we've got quite a lot of outsourcing. To give you guys an idea of that, is that we actually have people in South Africa, companies in South Africa that support customer service and support digital support to game developers around the world. So we've seen quite a lot of opportunity come from that. We've just had another one now as well with a big company in Joburg signing a Canadian studio and doing all their support for it. So we've really seen this development of relationships growing and the opportunity in the business. Our event is very business focused. It always has been. And I think that opportunity has been phenomenal. And it's great when you get the right people to come out to South Africa, because instead of them, the big problem at GDC and Gamescom, you get about 20 minutes time slots to meet with people when you're at those shows. In comparison, at Africa Games Week, you can spend 3 days with someone. At our event this year, we're really focusing. Our event happens live on the 23rd, but we've also got fringe events on the 24th and 25th, and we've actually got the kingpins of the industry all sitting together in workshops, meeting on tours and studio tours and site tours, etc., and really getting them to communicate extremely well over those days. And it's again a totally different opportunity compared to being at a big show like GDC or Gamescom.
Rex, I must say you're doing fantastic work galvanizing the entire African ecosystem of gamers. I mean, that's brilliant. Listening to the big names you've mentioned and how particularly your business focus, or the African gives a business focus on trying to salvage business opportunity for other African countries to also benefit. I just want to take a look here at the regulation, right? Gaming actually heavily depends on regulation to thrive. What is the regulatory framework in South Africa and across Africa? What does that look like? Could you share a few experiences, something that could guide upcoming gamers, or help us really understand what the regulation looks like? Do we have regulation at all? Are the policies actually influencing the rise of the gaming industry?
So I'm not the best person to answer this. My partner Nicole would be. He's part of Africa Games Week was set up by my partner Nick Hall, who was the head of the Interactive Entertainment South Africa, and they actually go to government and chat to them about regulatory requirements. And the issue with gaming is it always is, it's very new and it gets clumped with sort of film, sort of the film industry, and obviously it's kind of quite different. You have to look at games in a totally different way, and access to them and regulation. So there's a lot of advocacy done in South Africa for that space, but it's always led by the big international studios. They need to understand the regulatory environment in Africa, and they sort of lead the way, and then we kind of follow that. But the big issue is always that we kind of are clumped under film, because it is quite new. But there's a lot of restrictions to it. There's a lot of regulation. However, again, as I said, with our games, 99% of the ones made in Africa being played in different parts of the world, there is that need to follow big international regulations as well. So people have to understand that.
Thank you, Rex. I mean, I'm sure we're going to catch up with Nicole sometime soon, so we can really do a deep dive and really understand the policy and regulations that actually governs the gaming industry. How can we, I'm just going to take a look here in gaming and education, right? There's a synergy there, because I'm just thinking about African parents, getting concerned that their young lads are now getting more into gaming and, juxtaposed in the place of education, right? How can we drive the synergy where we can actually utilize gaming as a creative learning tool to encourage, high-end education? How is African Games positioned to help that?
So this year last year we touched our toe into that. We've always had a part of serious gaming in Africa Games Week, but last year we brought in a New York-based event, an association called Games for Change, and it's focused around serious gaming and utilizing games to educate people, but also to live their lives with, and use it for the better. So Games for Change have come on board much heavier this year. They're actually running the event as one of our 3 conferences. So the African leg is one of our 3 conferences called Games for Change Africa. And there is a huge opportunity. As I've developed in the industry, I've got to obviously know more and more, but a very interesting thing happened this year with a company in Ghana that we've been chatting to for years called Leti Arts. They've been around for many years themselves, and one of the godfathers of gaming in Africa. And mentioned to him that, you know, we want him to get involved in Games for Change, and he said to me, that is phenomenal, because that's where they actually make their money in gaming. They do a lot of projects for different banks and insurers and retailers and different corporates in Africa, because that's who's got the money in Africa. And they do those jobs so that they can educate people on how to run their lives or how to learn within a company. So they do a lot of gamification. And that allows them actually to have a separate arm of their business to do fun to play games. So there's a huge opportunity. I mean, everybody knows about EdTech, but and about education technology and how that's advanced. But serious gaming and using games for learning and educating is a further step along the process, because it's a lot more involved. There are a lot more moving parts to it, and it's a much more advanced way of learning going into the future. So it's very exciting for us. We see a huge opportunity in Africa on it. We know that there's been games made for the likes of Pick and Pay. ShopRite have done something. F&B have done stuff with games in South Africa. So a lot of banks and insurers and retailers are utilizing this to get the message through to their audience and educate their audience.
Good of you to have mentioned Ariam Tawai of Leti Arts, who is based in Ghana. I mean, I had a chat with Ariam and he's flying over to South Africa. Great one. Just talking about education, how soon do you think we can actually get to the point where we have a synergy, right, between education and then gamification?
My magic wand. Look, it really depends on educators. I think at the end of the day, your technology educators will take that up a little bit sooner than the rest. But it's always quite interesting for me. I've got 3 boys in 2 in primary school and 1 in high school, and curriculums and way they do things are quite similar to how I learned 20, 30 years ago, showing my age, on how they educate through primary school and certain things that they're learning, very book-based education. However, in high schools, I am seeing my son starting to work through, with Google, Google Learn and things like that as well. So that is coming through, and using platforms like Snaplify to get your textbooks and things like that. So I think there is definitely a movement into that. How people teach students, I think, is going to take still quite a long time to get to the point where they will utilize all the gamification tools that they can. But look, I think there's definitely movement towards that, and it comes from us as adults utilizing them in our lifestyle, so that kids can see that that's an opportunity, and educators can say, okay, this is a different way to learn, and different way to teach, and at that stage things will start moving a lot faster. But I think it's just getting out of that rut of doing things in the same old manner.
We're all great. Thanks, Rex. If you just joined us, you're watching the DT Africa live series, where we take you into deep dives conversation around what is making actually a shift within the African digital ecosystem. And I was just speaking to Rex Bodwin, who's the event director and founder of the African Games Week. We're going to take a quick commercial break just to let you know about when African Games Week is going to be happening. And stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, if you just joined us, you're listening or you're watching DT Africa Live Series. My name is Richard Joseph, and I'm here seated with Rex Bodwin, who is the event director and the founder of the African Games Week. Hi, Rex, welcome back. Let's quickly take a deep dive into what the event outlook actually looks like. What are we supposed to expect? Conferences, side tracks, what is really going to be happening on the days of the event?
Great, yes. So our event is very conference-led. So we do have a full day of conferencing on the 23rd of February. However, we have a whole expo hall as well. So we'll have about 50 different game-focused companies at that expo center. So lots of different African studios are showcasing what they're doing. We've got a couple of companies that run associations for gaming. So people like the Punishers, who are a gaming outfit that run teams of gamers. We've got people for like Emerge Gaming, a big sponsor of ours that makes things for MTN and puts games out on MTN platforms across Africa. So yeah, lots of different things happening on that day. We've got a pitch competition that happens, and this is the 4th year that it's happening. It's part of Nordic Game. It's called the Nordic Game Discovery Contest. Actually, the first year that we ran that event, we run the African leg. The winner of our leg actually won the world competition. The second year, the person that won our competition came second, and the first place on that year was actually won by a Tunisian company, game developer company. And then third year we also sent someone over, and I think they came second again. So it's exciting because this is a world competition, and a lot of highlights and focus on those people as a developer, and a lot of opportunity for them. So that's Nordic Games. But as I mentioned, the event is broken up into 3 main conferences this year. Make Games Africa is the business of gaming conference. It's been running since 2018 as well. It is our flagship conference of the event. And that's looking at all different parts of the legalities of gaming, the relationships of gaming, inclusion, diversity, different things that you need to do to market your games overseas. So that's focused on Make Games Africa. Again, I told you guys about Games for Africa, Games for Change Africa, and that's obviously focusing on serious gaming. So there'll be sessions on that. And then thirdly, this year we've brought in a new event, another new event focused on content creators. And we see this as a huge opportunity in South Africa. You're thinking of people like who stream for gaming and create content about their lives and what they do on social media. People sitting on Twitch and Twitter and Facebook, etc., Insta. And we're doing conference on that because it is actually the fastest growing small medium enterprise in the world, and it's developing extremely fast at the moment. And there isn't a platform in South Africa where those content creators and streamers can actually come, meet, learn, engage with the industry as well, and find out what they're doing right and find out what they're doing wrong. So we're very, very focused on that new track. And also on another note, it brings in those content creators to talk about African games that are played and made, and start getting those involved in their program. So that's on the conference side. As I said, the expo side, lots of different stands doing amazing things, little competitions, and we've got a gaming area where you can come downstairs and play different games and African-made games. So that's going to be very exciting. We run targeted B2B meetings. Being a business event, we're very focused on making sure the right people engage. So we have targeted meetings during the event that are pre-arranged. And then if you do come through the doors and there's someone specific you want to meet, you can walk up to that B2B area and request a meeting with a certain people, and we'll try to facilitate that for you guys. But yeah, the idea is that we're getting as many people as possible interacting. And then as I mentioned, the Nordic Game Discovery Contest that happens from 7 to 8 in the evening. It's a lot of fun, always a good laugh at the end of the day. But we actually then have bands playing in the evening from 8 until 11 p.m. We've got 3 different bands, Cape bass bands playing. We've got Aura and the Kites, Low Ghost, and then a DJ, Holy Funk, that comes and plays. So yeah, lots of exciting stuff in our evening.
Quite interesting, Rex. I'm so much excited. I wish I would be in South Africa because I love gaming. But unfortunately, I would have to be joining live. For our audience, DT Africa would try as much as possible to bring you the live coverage of the African Games Week. We would like to, share what is happening across the African ecosystem so that you get to enjoy as well, right? Rex, right before we pull down the curtain on the conversation. I just wanted to know shortly, right? What does the role? We're trying to build a cohesive future of, gaming, right? We've spoken a lot more about collaboration and how you've really helped expand the African Gaming Network, right? What are the plans for the future, the next 5 years? What are you going to be looking into, and how do we really want to continually expand the growth on the network?
Great. So, our expansion is focused on trying to bring more and more internationals into Africa to work with the developers. That's where the funding lies. That's where the opportunity lies. However, our biggest challenge with game development in Africa is that these people that are making games and the developers that are going through schools are really struggling to keep themselves in Africa, because it's such a huge opportunity to get a really strong job in other parts of the world, and their industry and their skill set is in high demand. So if we aren't able to get enough interest in Africa, with major publishers coming in and doing great things, and other co-production treaties and programs being run, we're going to have a very tough time on keeping the industry growing. So the real focus from here on end is to make sure that the industry is talking together, meeting, as I said in the beginning, that they're becoming a close-knit community so they can be working together, and learning what the opportunities are, and working between each other. So getting outsourcing companies in South Africa to outsource work for games out in Ghana and Nigeria or Kenya, and getting these people working in a professional manner that we can do things within Africa and then sell that to the rest of the world. So that's really our key focus. Another big focus is to make sure that gaming is being taught in the right way. So this year, our big focus is we've got a session and a whole lot of educators coming out from different parts of Africa to come and talk about what is being taught in gaming, and if it isn't being taught in a certain place, can it be taught digitally somewhere else in Africa for a group of Africans in another part of Africa. So if we can make sure that people are engaging and meeting and developing the industry together and forming this amazing relationship between each other, it will grow massively. So combined with the fact that we are putting all these people together, we've already had a new association launched called Pan-African Gaming Group that are doing great stuff together off the back of what we're doing at the moment, and just making sure that people are really working very, very closely together. That will make the industry grow.
Awesome. You have all the information there, audience. If you were listening in, if you tune in or you're going to tune in the future, please do well to ensure you watch to the end. Rex, how can upcoming gaming communities across African continents sign up and join the entire bandwagon of the African Games Week? And also access the opportunities you guys have in store.
Great. So easiest is just going to our website, www.gamesweek.africa, and you'll be able to buy tickets off there and see all the information about the program and what happens. So that is the simplest way. Once you go across and get a ticket from the Quicket website, you'll be put onto other. If you're coming live, your name will be at the door. But if you are on virtual, you're getting put onto our virtual event platform, which is called Meet to Match. And that platform is very different to other platforms, virtual platforms, which are very conferencey focused. This is more about actually getting people to request meetings with each other and make it as easy as possible for them to meet. So you can use Zoom, you can use Meets. 8x8 Skype. You know, the ability to use whatever video conference call is best for you is there. So they make that very simple. It's used by a lot of the big events around the world. So register for this, come on board, learn about what's going on. And if you're still stuck, just hit the contact us button and we will come back to you guys quite quickly.
Thank you so much, Rex. It was an exciting 30 minutes having you on board. We would like to draw the curtain on the conversation here. We look forward to seeing you at the African Games Week. Please, let's go have fun and leave some of the enjoyment for me as well. I'll see you sometime next year. Right. Thank you for watching. You're still watching the African Games Week. And I had the Rex Bodwin, who was the event director and the founder of African Games Week, on the call, who was really giving us much more insight into the African Games Week, the hybrid version for this year. There was a lot of benefits for, a whole lot of African countries, because you get to join in virtually and not just an in-person meeting. At this point, I'd like to tell you a little bit about some of the upcoming events we have during for you. We have a partnership with the Global Startup Ecosystem, and they will be hosting what they call the Afro Future Summit on the 28th of February this year. It's a virtual event, so feel free to head up to the website, and it's a free event. You can join in and watch. This is called the Metaverse Edition. And on the 17th of March, we'll bring you again, Digital Factory is back, and we're back live, colored, and vibrant. Right, we'll bring you exciting conversation around the tech ecosystem in Africa, delving into the nitty-gritty of how we want to really build, and using conversation as a tool to create solutions. Right, do feel free and join us. From me and the team at DT Africa, thank you once again, Rex, for joining us. Thank you to your team for the great work you've put out there on the African Games Week. My name is Richard Joseph, and stay tuned, stay blessed, enjoy a productive week. Bye-bye.